Hey folks, this is Jake with Seattle Coffee Gear, and today I'm going to be showing you some quick tips and tricks on the Solus Barista Perfetta. This is an awesome compact espresso machine that does really well in terms of espresso and steaming performance, looks great in the kitchen, and really gets the job done. So I just want to share a few things that I've found that have made my life easier or have made brewing easier on the Solus Barista Perfetta. So first thing first is that the machine is actually going to come with a water filter with it. I would recommend that you do absolutely use this water filter and purchase a few replacements if you haven't done so already. Water filtration is one of the most important things, especially on these smaller machines, because if you're putting in any old water into an espresso machine, the combination of heat, minerals, and water mean that you are going to be getting scale buildup eventually. And the boiler in here is relatively small, so there's not a lot of tubing, and the tubing diameter is quite small. So you want to make sure that you have as little scale buildup as possible. So make sure you're using these filters, that you replace them as needed, as recommended on the filter itself, and that you have a couple extra on hand, because changing these and making sure that these are up to snuff is super important. Another thing that I have noticed with the Barista Perfetta is the tamper. The tamper is actually really solid. For a machine of this price point and for this category, the tamper that comes with the Solus is one of the best that I have seen. I wouldn't actually recommend an aftermarket tamper unless you don't like the feel of the handle of this one, but the tamper that comes with the machine works fantastically. It fits great in the basket, and for me at least, it feels really awesome when I am making an espresso. So keeping the stock tamper, a-okay, at least in my books. So the next thing, I just want to walk through a couple of the programming steps, because the manual does do a pretty good job of doing this, but seeing it in person might be a little bit more helpful. So the programming on here is really simple. What I'm going to show you is both temperature and the shut off or standby time. So first things first is I'm going to be adjusting the temperature and show you how to see what temperature reading you have right now. So what you want to do is to get into the temperature, hit program, and you'll hear a beep and the lights will flash, and hit the 1 cup button. Once you hit the 1 cup button, you'll notice that there are a number of lights lit up. If only 1 light is lit up, you're at the lowest temperature. 2 lights, you're at medium, and 3 lights, you're at maximum. So what you want to do is click the button that corresponds with the temperature that you want. I have found that the highest temperature on this espresso machine does perform the best. So I'm going to hit the steam button, which is the 3rd button. You'll see all 3 lights are lit up. Hit the program button again. You'll hear 2 beeps to confirm, and now the machine is in the hottest temperature mode that it can have. Now, standby time or shut-off time, auto shut-off, is an important thing. You know, if you're using your espresso machine in the morning but don't want it to be on too long, or you want to make sure that it's still on by the time that you get back to it for that 2nd cup, here's how to program that. So it's the same programming button, but instead you're going to hit the 2 cup button. And the 2 cup button, it's the same light array as before, but instead, if there's only 1 light lit up, you have 10 minutes of time until standby mode kicks in. 2 lights is 30 minutes, and all 3 lights lit up is going to be actually 120 minutes, so that's 2 hours. That means, you know, if you want to come back to this machine 2 hours later, you're going to be a-okay, and the machine will be all warmed up and ready to go. One thing to note about this standby time that kicks in is for the 10-minute, 30-minute, and the 120-minute options, after that amount of time has passed, it actually goes into kind of a sleep mode for another 20 minutes. So this machine, if you have it set for 10 minutes, is going to, after 10 minutes, go into a standby mode. That standby mode lasts for 20 minutes, and after 30 minutes total, so the 10 minutes from the auto shut off and the 20 minutes from the standby, after 30 minutes total, your machine will actually be fully off, and you'll have to power it back on from the power button on the side. But within the standby mode, you can power it back on with using any of the front control panel buttons, and it heats up super quick, just like it would when it was on or off. You just don't have to use that on-off button. So I'm going to set mine to 30 minutes. So it's going to be the 2 cup button, or 2 lights lit up. Hit the programming button. You'll hear 2 beeps to confirm. And now we have a machine at the highest temperature and with 30 minutes of time before standby starts up, and that's exactly how I want it. So we're good to go. The last tip that I have for you that I found really, really helpful in making the most out of this machine and the brew is preheating the portafilter. And preheating the portafilter is a common step on a lot of semi-automatic machines. I've found that on this machine, you definitely want to preheat the portafilter, preheat all the water lines in there because there's no auto flushing or auto rinsing. And so I'm going to preheat it actually twice with the 2-cup button, just to make sure that everything is nice and warmed up. You don't have to do it twice, you can do it once, it works just fine, but twice really gets everything saturated. And just as a note, you'll see the gauge start to rise because I have the pressurized portafilter in here. And I'm going to do it again. That's the pre-infusion step kicking in. And there we have it. So then you just want to discard the rinse water, and you have a very warm, very hot portafilter, meaning that you won't lose too much heat when you're actually brewing your espresso. And that is a really important thing because you're going to get a better extraction at the end of the day like that. And it also does a great job of just rinsing out all the lines, the group head, and everything like that to make sure that your machine is fully ready to go for when you are ready for your shot. So those are just my quick tips and tricks to get your machine set up exactly how I would prefer it and how it might work best for you. Of course, with the temperature and standby, you can choose whatever settings work best for you. But like I said before, I would definitely recommend using the filter that comes with the machine and replacing that on a regular basis. It's the number one thing that you can do to keep your Solus healthy. And then, the stock tamper is a fantastic addition to this machine. It does really great, and I don't think you need an aftermarket portafilter, unless of course you want one, because there are a few 54mm options out there which work great. But I do think that this stock tamper actually works really well, and you won't want to, or don't need to necessarily, look for another tamper before you receive your machine. So I just want to thank you for watching this video. We really appreciate it when you watch videos like this from us. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Yes.